Okay, Vanish Fafnir speculation and info summary. So I was planning to do this a bit earlier today, but things got kind of busy on my end. So first of all, I just want to give a quick summary of the parts for this bay and all the info we know of. Then I'll do some speculation, some theories, all that good stuff. So the parts are Vanish Fafnir with the 3 armor, Tapered, and Kick. The Vanish ring is a counterclockwise stamina type ring with a lot more rubber than Mirage. It's definitely a lot more rubber than Mirage Fafnir. It is definitely a bit chunkier than Mirage Fafnir, and it should be a bit more defensive and aggressive. Now, its whole gimmick is that, see those empty spaces with the holes? Those rubber blades get pushed in, and the hole kind of closes or gets smaller. That's what you call shock absorption. So those rubber blades get pushed in to shock absorb and basically absorb the damage and deflect the attack from the opponent. The Fafnir Chip is basically like Belial as far as its teeth are concerned. Basically just 4 strong locks. It's always advertised as strong locks or powerful locks, so we don't actually know if the teeth are going to be good, mediocre, or amazing until some Baytubers actually get their hands on the Bay. I think it looks absolutely phenomenal. The only complaint is obviously, as I've said multiple times, the fact that the gem and the claw is there twice. It should only be there once, and it should be closer to the center and bigger. And next we have the Tapered Disc, which is basically a chunky downward shaped disc. Should be pretty defensive. Around the bottom edge, it is very smooth, so it should give you a lot of decent LAD. And because of how bumpy it is, I assume it'll give you some kick and burst resistance. Next is the 3 armor. It's basically just the 3-bladed armor that's advertised for 3-bladed attacks. Or blurred attacks, as the translation from the Takartomi site thing says. So it's basically going to be on any 3-bladed dynamite battle bay like Belial, Fafnir, and Valkyrie once Belial gets upgraded and it breaks and then upgrades, obviously. The Fafnir attachments, actually no, I want to talk about the kick driver before we get into that. So the kick driver is very orange, as a Fafnir driver should be. I was kind of expecting the Tapered Disc to be green because Fafnir's whole thing is that its chip is mainly gold. I love the transparent white they have on it, and a green center. Then its ring is obviously mainly dark blue rubber with a bit of like gold dragon heads and red eyes. Then the disc was mainly green because, you know, the green disc like 2S, Ratchet, and 8-proof, usually green. Then the tip is obviously orange. So now that we get a silver disc on Fafnir is kind of cool, but anyway, the kick driver, we don't actually know the tip of it, meaning we don't know if the tip is sharp like Just, which will make it probably suck because a sharp tip cannot hold a chunky bay like Mirage, or not Mirage, Vanish Fafnir, especially with how chunky the disc is. So it should be a ball-shaped tip as far as we know of, but maybe not. Some people say it's going to be like Just, some people say it's going to be like Universe. I honestly think it's probably going to be like Universe. And the ring around it is free spinning like Universe, and it's actually spring-loaded. So basically, there's 2 things that could happen. If it's perfectly balanced and it gets knocked onto that ring will basically spring-load and kick the bay back up. Now that's probably going to work in the anime as some sort of special move like kick, balance, reversal, or whatever. In real life, it'll probably help with KO defense, so it'll probably help with not getting knocked out, and it'll probably give it decent LAD. Now, if that thing tilts too much, that free spin ring will cause it to scrape, and it will stop spinning, just like drivers like Universe, Wave, and Yard. When they tilt too much, they scrape. Now moving on to the final piece. Someone on the WBO, or World Beyblade Organization, if you want to say the full name, actually found their 4 slots for the Fafnir attachment on their Dynamite Belial. And they were actually, they actually circled it with red circles. So I took that picture and put it in here. And then the Fafnir attachment also has 4 little blocks. So that Fafnir attachment will go on the bottom of Belial. Now, it's not going to go on the top, because there are rumors that on the top of Belial, that's where the Longinus attachment is actually going to go. The Fafnir attachment only goes on the bottom as far as we know of. It doesn't actually lock in, so the armor is actually the thing keeping the Fafnir attachment in place. So it's basically going to be like any assembly of a Dynamite Battle Bay would be in low mode for Dynamite Belial or any other Dynamite Bay, except that the Fafnir armor will be underneath the DB blade and on top of the armor while in low mode, or something like that. But yeah, the armor is underneath Belial, and the rubber fills in those small blade spaces. So it'll be consistent. It's kind of like 6-wing mode Valkyrie, where on the top there's three big blades, and then there's 3 smaller blades on the top. Now, in the space of those 3 smaller blades, on the bottom there will be rubber. So think of it as Brave Valkyrie's 6-wing mode kind of shape, is what you should think of with the Belial and Fafnir attachment combination. So now that we have basically the info summary of all of the parts, I kind of want to do some speculation on this Fafnir. So, first of all, Fafnir's teeth have not always been the best. Strain Fafnir, I don't really know much about, because despite me blading in the beginning of 2017, or end of 2016, I'm pretty sure it was the beginning of 2017, when Beyblade Burst Gods started to air, I never actually kept up with the anime or watched like YouTube videos until 2019. So I know that Geist Fafnir's teeth, and I do know that because I actually own Geist Fafnir, Wizard Fafnir, and Mirage Fafnir. Wizard Fafnir's teeth is absolutely horrible, and that's partly because of the chip, but mainly because the slopes on the base is really flat and don't align properly with the teeth. It's not because of the rubber. Now, people with Mirage Fafnir were actually really worried, because I remember when Mirage Fafnir was like all the news was being released, they were really worried because like, oh, Wizard Fafnir had a lot of rubber and that's why it bursted, because of the friction. And now Mirage Fafnir is going to have even more rubber, and it has the nothing driver. This Fafnir is going to be even worse than Wizard Fafnir. Oh no, it's going to be so bad. And no, that's actually not the case at all. You see, double chassis already give the Bay a huge bump in burst resistance, and while Rise may be good for opposite spin LAD, the plate around it actually scrapes when it tilts, so I would actually choose nothing over Rise in terms of same spin stamina, especially if you want the iconic driver for a Fafnir. And this Mirage Fafnir, if I were to give it a scale of 1 to 10, I would say maybe 6.5, you know? It's definitely decent, it just isn't that good compared to, like, powerful bays. Like, it beats up the smaller bays easily, like, it definitely beats up bays like King Helios, or Abyss Devilos, you know, Death Devilos, or Diabolos. For the TT version, it beats up the weaker bays. It loses miserably against the stronger bays like Helios Volcano, Lucifer the End, and so forth. But the point being that rubber isn't the reason why Fafnir bursted, or Wizard Fafnir did. Geist Fafnir had pretty good teeth, it just didn't burst that much, and it doesn't burst that much for all I know. Mirage Fafnir bursted quite a bit for a double chassis bay, but I feel like that's just because of the what's it called? The slopes on the Mirage ring kind of were like off a bit. They were kind of a bit flat like Wizard, but definitely not as flat as Wizard. Now my expectations for this Fafnir, for the burst resistance, are that it'll be pretty good, because this Fafnir seems pretty chunky. We haven't seen the bottom side, but from the actual image of the blade, we can see that it's pretty bumpy, plus the rubber should cause some decent friction with the chip, especially since the inside is actually rubber, because that's the same color as the dark blue rubber on the outside. So if the inside where the armor actually goes is rubber, this Fafnir is going to have insane burst resistance. But if those parts are just plastic or metal and they're painted like the rubber, it'll have decent burst resistance. But anyway, I don't think this Fafnir will have bad teeth. unless it does, but that's just my theory. Now, for this Fafnir's, like, iconicness, it doesn't really give me that iconicness of Fafnir, and that's actually what I like about it. You see, if I were to rank my Fafnirs from favorite to least just by design, it would go as follows. Number 1, Geist Fafnir 8-proof absorb. Number 2, now this is going to surprise you, Vanish Fafnir 3 Tapered Kick. Yeah, I really like the design of Vanish Fafnir. Literally, my only complaint about any gimmick or any design of this bay is 2 things. Gimmick-wise, my only complaint is that the Fafnir attachment doesn't go on the actual Fafnir. And design-wise, literally my only complaint is that the gem is way too small, and there's 2 of them. That's literally my only complaint. Everything else about this bay, amazing. Every single part is new. The design is amazing, besides that thing with the gem, obviously. The gimmicks are really, really new. You see, Fafnir, as long as I've known it, has always had 2 unique gimmicks. It's been a counterclockwise stamina type that spin steals, and its driver is always spring-loaded, and has a special attack, like Absorb Break or Nothing Break. Now, in God, it was pretty cool. With Turbo, it was even cooler with all the upgrades. In GT, Fumia owned it, which already brought the kind of thing, the whole hype down, and it didn't even have the spring gimmick. And Mirage Fafnir, it was kind of down with the hype. It was kind of like average for the hype, because it was just, like, it was a Fafnir, you know, nothing too special about this specific Fafnir. It was basically just Drain Fafnir, but better because of the counter mode and the burst resistance. But this Fafnir really gives Fafnir that needed gimmick, because I felt like Fafnir, as long as I've known it, has had the exact same gimmick over and over. So this next Fafnir, I was thinking, should have a new gimmick, and that's exactly what they gave us. They gave us the shock absorption, they gave us the thickness of the disc and the driver, they gave us the new design, they gave us the spring-loaded kick driver. Even the names are different. Like, imagine if the... Oh, wait, I just thought of something. See, if the driver is spring-loaded, that means the tip has to be round. Or maybe they didn't... Maybe they got rid of the spring gimmick on the driver, because if the driver is that thick and it has a free-spinning ring, if it does, like, Absorb Break or Nothing Break and has that gimmick, it'll go crazy. Because of that ring, it'll scrape and everything. So, I actually don't think this Fafnir will have the spring gimmick and the Nothing Break or Absorb Break gimmick. And honestly, I'm fine with that. Because if Free has, like, if the spring gimmick is indeed gone, I need Free to have some sort of ultimate move in the anime. Like, kind of a replacement move for Absorb Break and Nothing Break, because that spring-loaded, like, ability was his most powerful move in the anime. And in real life as well, it was really what brought the aggressive side out of Fafnir. Just like Free is usually calm, but he gets aggressive when he's serious. So what I need is that if this driver is actually not spring-loaded, and he doesn't have that gimmick, I need Free to have some sort of insane backup move that's even as powerful, or hopefully even more powerful in the anime. But this Fafnir definitely isn't an iconic Fafnir, because it just doesn't have that unique Fafnir design, like the majestic full-size dragon with the gem in its center, and the spring-loaded driver with the green disc. That's just not the iconic Fafnir that I think of, but that's fine, because unique bays are interesting. Because that's why Vanish Fafnir is my second favorite Fafnir, as far as design goes. And I have really high hopes for this bay. So yeah. As for my expectations, the teeth, shouldn't be too bad. The defense, I think the defense is going to be insane, considering how chunky and heavy this thing should be, plus the free spinning ring on the kick driver. The stamina should be okay, because stamina has nothing to do with, well, it kind of does have something to do with weight, but, like, not really, because this Fafnir is chunky, and there are definitely chunky bays that have stamina. I'm trying to think of one. what's a chunky bay that has stamina? Regalia Genesis, or Big Bang Genesis. That thing is super chunky and has insane stamina. But then there are also things like Glide Ragnarok, which aren't really that chunky, if you think about it, but they also have insane stamina. And then there are super thin bays, like World Spriggan's layer is insanely thin, and the Unite Driver's tip is super thin and sharp. But World Spriggan has actually pretty good stamina. So just because this thing is chunky or has a sharp tip doesn't mean its stamina is going to be that bad. The LAD will be... I don't think it'll be that good, to be honest, because it might scrape. But, like, I think the LAD should be something around the lines of Curse Satan or Rage Longinus in that sense because of the shape of the driver. But maybe the shock absorption helps, who knows. But yeah, I honestly have no idea how long we've been going because it doesn't actually show the time of, like, how long I've been going on this app, which I use to record. And, yeah, so that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this video. I don't know how long we've been going, so sorry if this video is like 20 minutes long, which, honestly, 20 minutes long isn't really that long, but it's pretty long. But not super duper long. But you get the point. Anyway, this video, that's pretty much going to wrap it up. Let me know your thoughts on anything I've said in this video. Like, do you agree with some of my speculations? What are your expectations for this Fafnir? Do you have any complaints at all? Any positives? Any negatives? Do you like the design? What's your iconic idea of a Fafnir? etc. And yeah, so also, give me a rating of Fafnir in the comments. Like, give me a scale of 1 to 10. My scale for Fafnir is going to be maybe 6 point... No, not that's for Mirage. 6.5 out of 10 for Mirage. But for this Fafnir and my expectations, I'll say 7.7 out of 10. Or, I'll be nice, 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10. The only problems I have is that the Fafnir attachment can't go on it, and the design for the chip is slightly off, and it may scrape, but that's it. And yeah, so that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this video. I won't waste any more time because I'll probably keep you guys here all day long. And yeah, that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this video. Let me know your thoughts on anything I've said, anything at all. Subscribe if you enjoyed. Have fun. Peace out. And don't forget to keep on blading.